Hi everyone, welcome back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and talk about something that's really important to me in this program, probably the most important thing. What I want to talk about is why. First of all, I'm going to get into why I created this, but I've brought up this birthday wish I put out this year on raising money for this program. And I want to talk about the overall, first of all, why I created the program, what I'm hoping to do with it, and why I need your support. So when I was in, so there are multiple reasons why I think this program is really important. The first is that when I was in recovery, the first thing I was told was that I would never be whole. I was told I would suffer addiction my whole life, that I would need to combat it, that I would never be completely over the CPTSD, all of that. And something in me told me that couldn't be true. I couldn't believe that I was just inherently broken and would be broken my whole life. And I think a lot of people experience that. I think they also experience this experience of being shamed in recovery. Now, I think a lot of people that have addiction often do need to acknowledge their addiction. The very first part of AA is that I need to admit I have a problem. There's this arrogance in addiction. I had someone tell me recently that addicts feel out of control, and actually the opposite is true. Addicts tend to believe they're in control. They tend to think they can handle it. I can manage it. I've got this. They only have fleeting moments where they feel out of control. And generally those are moments shortly before they use again, or when they're ready to surrender and finally confront the addiction. But the rest of the time there's this need to acknowledge, but the need to acknowledge has become a function of staying within the addiction the way it is. It's become continue to call yourself an addict. It's become fear ever believing that you are finally free of addiction. And I get it. I've read the big book, and I get it that there are people that can go whole careers. They can go 20 or 30 years without the drug, and then they go back and use it once and they're addicted again. And I understand that concept, but the fundamental principle of what drives addiction is the same. Once you have healthy centered brain function, you are no longer comfortable with what drugs and alcohol do to your brain, or even the other addictions. There's no comfort in it. And even when we are addicts, there's discomfort. We don't necessarily want to live in that state. Our brain just doesn't know another way. So as I was moving forward, I felt I wanted this to be acknowledged. I wanted to be part of a program that looked at me and said, you're not broken. Your brain just needs this adjustment. It's doing this thing, and it's not your fault, and it's not anybody else's fault. It's just DNA, and it's not even failed DNA. It's historical DNA. The DNA that's driving this is a DNA that we all have that worked for us 2,000 years ago. Our world's changed. And those old functions of the brain just don't work anymore. And so that's what drives addiction. So it's not a broken brain. And I think that's the first thing I wanted to know. So once I discovered what I discovered about a potential cure, everyone came to me and said, Linda, you need to start an addiction recovery program. This is amazing. People need this. And I didn't want I didn't want to go back into addiction recovery. I had spent 30 years there, and it was arduous. It was a lot of hard work. And I respected and honored all the support and everything I had. But to be honest, I didn't want to go back into that world. I wanted to work in a different environment. And that's why I created the coursework I did. I wanted to be able to help people with addiction, but I didn't want to focus on addiction. And then something happened for me. Last fall, I suddenly felt like I didn't want to do business in the way I had been doing it. And I said, something's going to change. By June, I'm going to be doing something entirely different. And then as COVID happened, as social distancing happened, I remember being at a point where I was doing something and working on something, and all of a sudden I thought of the concept of I need to go to a meeting. And anybody that's been in addiction recovery in a 12-step program for any length of time knows what that means. The fundamental principle of the 12-step program is if you're having a bad day, if you're thinking of using, if things are too much, if you're on the brink, find a meeting. Because the meeting is there to remind you of why you quit in the first place. I remember sitting with somebody at lunch once, and there was a person behind me, and she said, you know, the person behind you is detoxing. I can tell. And I laughed, and I said, you know what's ironic? When you're a drug addict or alcohol, or you detox all the time. Part of quitting is when you say, I'm done detoxing, because detoxing is part of addiction. And coming down off of it, even if it's not drugs or alcohol, even if it's addiction to like shopping or pornography or something, the come down off of it is horrible. It's torturous. And you have to come down off of it every single time you engage in the addiction. And so you're spending your life really detoxing over and over again. It's just the last time you detox when you decide that you're done. And in that process, I thought about that. I thought there are people who are, first of all, being forced into stressful situations. So maybe they can't go out and connect with other people as much as they want. Maybe they're in an abusive environment where now everyone's cooped up in the house together. And if it's already been an abusive house, maybe that's escalated. Or maybe I counted on meetings and now they're not available, and I either need to not have a meeting or I need to risk my health to be able to have the meeting that I need. And as I was thinking about that, this happened to me like shortly into COVID. It was after social distancing started, probably about mid to end of March. And I thought, what does this person do? I mean, there are probably virtual meetings, but what resources do they have? And then I started thinking about what resources do they have if they can't find a meeting? And I think there are moments of there are so many moments where you're on the brink when you're in recovery. There are so many moments where you need to choose past something that your brain is screaming you need to do or you'll die. And in those moments, resources are key. Having a person to talk to, having a sponsor, or having a program or an exercise or something to do becomes so important. And when I thought about that, all of a sudden, I just thought, I need to create something. I was doing virtual meetings for my other business, and I thought, we need to have virtual meetings. We need to create something. And then I thought, and I need to bring these tools forward. So right now in our country, the statistic from last year is 1 in 7 people have a substance abuse problem. Now, this is only measuring drug and alcohol abuse. This is not measuring pornography or shopping addictions or even just simple addictions to television. The majority of people have addictive patterns in our society. But just in substance abuse, drug and alcohol addiction, 1 in 7 people over the age of 12 in the United States have an addiction problem. Now, it cost, I've seen different statistics, but averaging everything that I saw, last year it cost us $233 billion. Addiction did. If you think about everything that addiction affects, first of all, you have things like car accidents, the drugs themselves, the loss of home, of job, of productivity, also medical issues, overdoses, plus the medical the damage that's done medically, but also insurance. The insurance companies are bombarded. I see all of this information in the media that talks about wrongful lawsuits, the medical malpractice suits that are crushing our insurance industry. But then you look at addiction recovery that can be $40 or $50 or $60,000 a month to be in a rehab program that is being billed to insurance companies. The insurance companies are being crushed under addiction recovery, but no one's addressing it because running a traditional recovery center costs money. It costs because you have a bunch of professionals there. But in addition to that, the addiction recovery has become an industry that is a money-making industry, a very high money-making industry, and it's making its money off the suffering of others because the majority of people aren't recovering. The most successful drug and alcohol addiction recovery program in the world is Alcoholics Anonymous. If you look at a lot of addiction, there are so many branches now of AA that are run by addicts. It's people that have been there. And I thought we need something. We need something that brings that information, that understands what's medically happening in the brain, that understands at a neurological level what's happening, but bring it in the same way that AA brings this option that I'm not even going to say the word affordable, because when you're steeped in addiction, addicts and their families suffer financially horribly. Like I said, addicts lose jobs, they crash vehicles, the drugs themselves. Addiction costs a tremendous amount of money for the addicts as well. And then the only options being these expensive recovery programs. And I get it. If you're running a rehab center, you have to pay the bills. And I think that is necessary. Rehab centers are necessary. My program does not deal with detox. It doesn't deal with IOP services. But I think there needs to be an option for people that doesn't increase the financial burden that addiction has already placed on them. And so I realized between meetings and cost that a free, completely free to the participant, online, so it's accessible to everyone. All you need is a cell phone with internet service. And even if you have a cell phone that doesn't have internet service, there's places, coffee shops and stuff where you can log on to their internet. So all you really need is a cell phone, and you can have a recovery program that is efficient, that is well organized, and deals with the cause of addiction, not the symptom of addiction. That became so important to me that by May, I filed the paperwork to start this nonprofit. Now, because of COVID and because I am no longer doing in-person meetups, my business has taken a cut of about $1,300 a month. Now, being a person that lives on roughly $2,000 a month, that's a big hit. and it was a crushing blow to me. I didn't realize it'd have that high of an impact moving to online services. But what I'm doing is so important to me that I have fully funded this project. I pay for the web developer that's made the amazingly beautiful website we have. There was no way I could launch this without him. He organizes everything and helps me fix the mistakes I make and the things I break on the website. He fixes them. When I have problems and the website crashes, he brings it back up, because I need that knowledge to manage a website like this. I have paid all the filing fees with the IRS. I have put hours. I've put a minimum of 30 hours a week into this nonprofit, and just the expenses of developing the program thus far have been $2,000, and that includes the filing fees and all of the web development stuff I've needed to do, the marketing stuff, all of that. It doesn't even include my hours. And I was already in a place that I was feeling financial strain, but this is important to me. And I thought initially I'll start it and then I'll get corporate and some government funding, and that will help me. That's going to take some time to build. And so I've gotten a job. In addition to running this and my other program, I'm going to be working 40 hours a week. And it's a strain, but I do it passionately. So here's why I want to talk about this money I asked for this fundraising. I am happy to fund a nonprofit addiction recovery program. I am so grateful to not be an addict anymore. I am so grateful to not have complex PTSD anymore. I have no words for how grateful I am. So I do want to run a program. I want to expand the program. I want to make this program available to teens and preteens so that they can prevent drug and alcohol addiction, along with suicide prevention, and they can feel good about themselves. I want to be able to help different nonprofits that their participants may not be. That nonprofit doesn't address drug and alcohol specifically, but they address other things, and this would be complementary to it. I want to be able to do all that, but I can only do so much with what I have. So far, I've done everything I can with what I have, but I do want to do more. And so, but I don't want to do it alone. I don't want this just to be a nonprofit I started and am funding. I'll have it be that if that's what it needs to be, but that's not what I want. So the other day, a series of questions ran through my mind, and I listed some of them, and I'm going to start doing that again. Which is about reaching out to the people who maybe don't understand how horrible it is to suffer from addiction. And so I started asking people to contribute, that if you've never had lost a job or a family or friends because of addiction, to please contribute. If you've never lost a family member due to addiction from an overdose or a disappearance, the fact that addicts often disappear from their family and become missing persons. If you've never suffered that, to contribute, to try and tap in. I started asking these questions because I'm asking you, please try and tap in to what 1 out of 7 Americans are experiencing right now. Starting at the age of 12, that wake every day facing those nightmares, facing the potential of the crushing experience that addiction causes. I also ask that if you even if you're recovering and you have the resources and want to contribute to help those people with addiction that can't. Also, if you know someone, please, first of all, forward. If you don't feel like you can contribute, please forward information about the site. Let people know it's there. Let people who might contribute know, and let people who are suffering addiction know that it's there and it's a resource for them. And I am never going to charge them. There's never going to be a fee to the public for using this resource. I will do everything. If I have to work 10 jobs, I will. I'll find a way to make sure the resource is available. But the help is so important and so needed. And I think I hadn't stated that enough. It's not just this, oh, guess what? I want to raise some money because this might be fun. No, I really, really want to change the face of recovery in America. I want higher recovery percentages. I want people to be able to access the resource. I want, when somebody's having a really bad day and nothing else is available, that at least they can tap on a video to help them remember why they want to be sober. That is not about shame or guilt, but that is about inspiring them and telling them they're successful and strong. Because if you're an addict and you're still here today and you're watching this video, you should be commended, because it's devastating. It's devastating to be an addict. It hurts every second of every day. And so having resources and people that are willing to say it's important to me, even though I've never felt that, to help you, because I don't want to see you suffer. Bringing that out and taking part of that is so important. I know that people are struggling financially right now. I know that they are having a hard time paying rent, and they may not have a job. And so if you don't have the money, I understand. But if you have a little bit, if you have enough that you were thinking, oh, I can go eat out, or I can go buy this thing. If you have a little bit, this is taught where what I'm trying to do can save lives. And at the very, very least, alleviate the suffering of humans that are valuable and that don't have a lot of options, because a lot of the options that are available aren't as real of options as they seem for everybody. So I apologize. I didn't mean to get that emotional, but it's hard. It's really hard to be an addict, and I want to help people not have to be addicts anymore. So that's why I'm pressing the way I am for this to succeed and for your support. And I'm going to continue to press. I'm going to continue to remind people, and I'm going to continue to ask people to give. If everyone I know, if everyone on my Facebook alone gave $5 a month, I'd have enough money that I could take this global. I mean, it's really low overhead. And so I can use every dime going to this program in a really good way. I'd love to be able to hire people to run more groups than just 1 or 2 a week. So I do want to grow it. And if it was just $5 a month, can make such a huge difference. So I'm going to continue to ask, particularly this week, until I raise that $2,000. I am going to keep asking. Anything over the $2,000 I make in this campaign this week, anything over the $2,000 I will contribute to Black Lives Matter. I just need the $2,000 right now, and then I will have a new campaign to take us into the next stage of what we do. But for this one, this week, this is what needs to happen to continue to have the program move forward. So I wanted to share that and share with people why it's so important and why I'm pressing at this point, because it's an epidemic in our country, and I think it's time to change it. I think we've accepted it at where it is right now for too long. I think it's time to change the experience of life for people suffering addiction. For anybody who gives $25 or more today, I have a gift, and it's a pretty cool gift. I will announce that at 5 o'clock. So again, well, I'm going to say anybody who gave this week or to this campaign, not this week or today, but to this campaign, anybody that gives $25 or more to this campaign, I have a gift for you. And so I was hoping I would have those in my hands and ready to show you, but there have been complications. So I hope I will. If not, they'll be posted tomorrow on all the social media and on the website. So I think that's it for now. Thank you for watching, for being willing to be here and listen to me and consider the possibility of this. I'm excited as we move forward to show you the potential of what it offers to people in recovery.